Here we go! Peachy!
Here I go!
After finding this mind-blowing number out, it's no wonder why young people don't want to have kids these days. From the day your child is born until the day they turn 18, U.S. families on average will spend about $310,000 on you.
100%.
Northeast, where I'm from, that number gets even higher. Will you rethink having kids now?
Okay, again, she's talking that bare kind of base number. And again, we talked about the higher cost of living areas. And we're just talking about the U.S. You can apply this same template and the same idea to many other larger cities throughout the world. If you go to countries in Asia, if you go to countries in up north in Canada, if you go over to the UK, if you go different places throughout the world, the global economy has spiked in terms of inflation. Food costs more than it ever did, and it's going to keep rising. Childcare costs more than it ever did. That's going to keep rising. Medical's going to keep rising. All these people during the pandemic didn't do anything. They were getting these free checks coming in and, messing around, sleeping around, doing all this stuff. Oh, 100%. Yeah, we might have a pandemic, baby. Came out the pandemic, got right back to work, climbed out of your little hole, paying your bills that you didn't pay during the pandemic, and then now, oh, I'm pregnant. Boop, you're having a baby. You fell right back down to the bottom. Now you got to climb all the way up the mountain again. Except this time, you ain't going to make it to the top of the mountain. The prices then went up on everything. Housing is through the roof if you'd like to buy a house. Some pricing is coming down in some areas. I know that anything is possible. But those are only the areas where it's not even affordable. Yeah, sure, prices are going down a little bit in San Francisco and maybe Los Angeles. However, do you have $1 million? Can you come and put down $200,000 down for a house loan? Most people can't do that. That's already out of reach. And then people want to talk about, oh, well, the cost of rent's coming down. Man, get on my pedigree. All right. We ain't talking about renting. We talked about the criteria that you need, the 5 C's. You need to be a homeowner before you're out here popping kids. You need to have your act together. You need to have cash on deck. You need to have savings. You need to have your stuff wrapped up like a Christmas present. Before you go out here and decide you're just going to be throwing your stuff around, throwing your meat around and having kids everywhere. Why? Because you're bringing children into the world to struggle if you don't have an abundance of resources.
100%.
Need to raise 3 children comfortably. That means you live in a condo, you have a car to shuttle your children. You don't have to do nitty-gritty about price tag. And one of your child wants to pick up a hobby, you can just say, sure, let's go. If you go to like a mid-range private school, that will cost you easily.
You've heard that before, right?
So if you are like me, 3 young children whose ages are very close to each other, at one point you will have 3 of them studying in the same preschool, and I spend about 5.5k just for school fees. On the weekend, you cannot always be doing free stuff, right? Sometimes you have the indoor playground. Even eating out as a family, even if we don't eat in the restaurant, we go for like hawker center, we still can spend about maybe 30-40. Plus, if you want to give your children exposure, go holiday with them maybe 2 times a year, even if you go Australia, even if you buy the cheapest, most budget air tickets, service apartment, I don't know, it will still cost you about 8 to 10,000. Essentially, if you want to raise your children with like more options and you want to raise them in a way that you can give them options to choose what type of curriculum to pick up, plus paying for the house, paying for the car, paying for insurance, so giving allowance to your parents, doing some savings, planning for retirement, you definitely need about 30 to 40,000.
Okay, so apparently she's from Singapore. Now, I mentioned that the cost of living is high in different areas. Singapore's high. So you could see $30,000 per month to raise 3 kids and send them to private school and do the extra things that you should be able to do. Now, maybe this parent, this mom and her partner, maybe they are very well off. Maybe, they're bringing in this type of money where they can actually afford to do that. And if that's the case, that's okay. But it sounds to me like at least they've thought about what types of experiences they'd like to offer their children. They've thought about what types of lifestyle and standard of living they would like to offer their children. They've talked about what types of experiences they would like to be able to offer their children. A lot of people don't do that. You just go out here and then you're sleeping around, and you created a child in a moment of pleasure and you ain't even got all this part figured out yet. And that's where you're failing at, because now you got to climb out of the hole. You ain't saved up and thought about college for them. You ain't thought about their first car. You ain't thought about all the resources it was going to take for you to raise that child. All you were thinking about was yourself. And here's another thing I'm just going to throw out. For all of you people out here that already have an existing set of children, you had a family over here that didn't work out. You ain't even raised these kids yet. And you're having more kids over there with starting up a whole nother family, both men and women. It's very selfish because you have not even completed your obligation to the children that you already have, and you're diluting down the resources that you can offer them. You're diluting down the lifestyle and the quality of life that you can offer the kids you already got, just because you want to go out here and be sexually irresponsible. Come on, fellas. And ladies too. Because a lot of ladies are out here doing it too. So, in my opinion, it's not something that you should be doing. If you want to have additional children and you already have children existing and you're paying support over here and now you want to have a new family, you better be balling too hard out here. You better be an NFL player. You better be a Dolphins wide receiver or something out here, or an NBA basketball player, which I don't recommend them doing that either because it's very silly, although they do it anyway. But you better have a serious income lined up before you decide you're going to go out here and be starting multiple families. Because not only is it expensive, it's unfair to the children you already have, because you're diluting the amount of time that you have for them, and you're diluting the amount of resources you have to offer to them, and you're diluting the quality of life that you're going to be able to offer to your children that you already have. There ain't no excuses out here. Oh, well, I thought she was, on the pill, and man, ain't nobody trying to hear that. Because at the end of the day, this ain't your first rodeo. You knew what you was doing, but you still had to have a selfish moment.
Know your role.
You was over there knee deep in them guts and felt a euphoria. And then here we go. About 3 weeks later. Oh, my tummy's been hurting and I don't know. I kind of been feeling funny. I threw up this morning. Fellas, don't do it.
3 years ago, my husband and I were trying to decide if we wanted a third kid, and we got some awesome advice from family. That advice was that going from 2 kids to 3 kids wasn't any harder.
Don't cry, don't
so
cry,
now
don't
today
cry,
we
don't
have
cry.
3
Don't
kids,
You've heard that
and
before,
I can
right?
confidently say that they lied. It's a lot harder. So much harder.
She touched on a point that I mentioned earlier. The pressures from other people to have children. If they ain't kicking in on that bill, I don't care what they're talking about. Because at the end of the day, it's going to be your responsibility to provide team, time, energy, attention, and money. Those are the resources that you're going to have to provide to
I don't care.
a child. And again, if you already have 2 kids and you had a certain lifestyle, okay, We can afford to live here. Oh, okay, we got a 2-bedroom or we got a 3-bedroom. Each child can have their own room, and we go to Disney World every year, and we go and take another vacation, and okay, that was your quality of life. Then now all of a sudden, boom, you popped another kid. Ain't no more Disney World next year. Mommy, why aren't we going to Disney World? Because you had another kid. And that next kid wiped out your Disney World money. Now you got to move to another place to live. Those other 2 kids are accustomed to a certain quality of life. They want their own bedroom. Or now, one kid has to share their bedroom now with the other kid. So their quality of life is going down. They're not going to be able to get a toy when they want. They're not going to be able to go out to eat when they want all the time. They're not going to be able to keep getting the same quality of life that they previously had because you decided you wanted another child and put yourself in struggle season. So this doesn't just apply to the one family over there situation and creating a whole new family. This also applies to people that already have kids or a couple of kids and have more kids. In the current economic state that we're in, where the economy is not giving up more money, the economy is actually paying less money. If you go out in the marketplace right now for a new job, most jobs are going to be paying less money. Even if you are making more money, so what? So what? You made an extra $30,000 this year. So what? Inflation ate that up. And if inflation didn't eat that up, taxes is going to eat that up. Because these people that are in office, they just want to kick up taxes more and more and more. Yeah, just keep raising the taxes. Well, how are we going to solve this problem? Oh, just raise the taxes. Taxes are going up. Inflation and the cost of living is going up. If you find yourself in a situation where your actual cost for housing might be going down, well, consider yourself fortunate. But quite honestly, none of those other things are going down. The cost of healthcare is not going down. The cost of food's not going down. Your cell phone bill's not going down. Cable TV, internet, subscriptions, that's not going down. None of that is going down. Food is not going down. Babysitting's not going down. Swimming lessons ain't going down. Karate classes ain't going down. Nothing's going down. The only thing that's going down is your quality of living. The only thing that's going down is your opportunity to go out here and experience a much more abundant life. And the reason why it's going down is because you're choosing to continue to have more and more children when you can't recognize the signs that are already written 100%. On the wall saying stop. Big red stop sign on the wall blinking at you, telling you, hey, don't have no more kids. This lady right here knew in her heart, don't have no more kids. Yeah, well, me and my husband, we were talking about it a little bit, and our family convinced it. If you need to be convinced to do something, and that means in your heart, you know that you didn't want to do it and you shouldn't be doing it. She let
it's in my code.
Talk her into having more kids. And what did she say? It's a lot harder now. It's a long drop off when you got 2 kids and you think you got it under control. Oh, it's not going to be that more expensive. A third kid, a third child will put you in poverty. For some people, 1 child will put them in poverty. For some people, 2 children will put them in poverty. For some people, the 3rd child will put them in poverty. So if you enjoy your lifestyle and you would like to have your life back at some point before you get to be old and gray, you might not want to have kids unless your income is going to continue to grow.
1 child is okay. We're very happy. Seeing our friends and family members have 2 or 3 or even 4 kids, which is crazy.
It's a lot.
And we see
it seems like you have a little problem understanding the English language.
And I say some because some are struggling and they can't believe that they had so many kids and now their life is tough. There's a lot of sacrifice and also giving up your time, right? You can't just say like, oh, it doesn't really matter, we love our kids, so you know, it's like, it's not like that, you know. It's like struggle is real, and raising one human being was tough.
This gentleman obviously recognized how much of a commitment it was to raise one child. Time, energy, attention, money, all of the resources that are not necessarily abundant. Your time is not necessarily abundant. There's only a certain amount of time in the day. So when you want to multiply your responsibilities, then that's going to take away from your time and your other resources. There's an opportunity cost to every choice that we make. If you want to be over here, then you can't be over there. If you want to do this, then you can't do that. That's fine. However, some people get it, some people don't. He did mention that there are some people that he knows that have multiple children, 2, 3, 4 children, and they're making it happen. But a lot of them are struggling. And I can tell you, there's a lot of struggling families out here that have a lot of kids. I just want to touch on one other thing while we're discussing, you know, reasons why you should or should not have children. And I just want to point this out because I see this all the time. When you don't have kids, people that have kids, they make it seem like it's the best thing in the world. And maybe there are moments of happiness and moments where they're extremely proud to be a parent and they would wish that their life would be no other way. But there's a lot of heartache and there's a lot of heartbreak and there's a lot of sacrifice that comes with being a parent, and they don't tell you about that. There's a lot of parents that are unhappy with the choice that they made to have even one kid, let alone multiple kids, but they can't go back on it now. So they have to suck it up and, oh, yeah, I'm extremely happy with you. You ain't that happy. No, you're not.
100%.
No, you're not. Because when you see other people living their life and now all of a sudden their kids are grown and they're taking trips and going and living their best life, going out to dinner, running around, globetrotting, having fun, eating out, going shopping, you ain't doing that. And you're not going to be doing it for a while. You're going right back to your house and you're eating beans and rice tonight. You're going right back to your house tonight. What are y'all having? Breakfast for dinner. A bowl of cereal. Because y'all ain't got the money. If you do not have children, do not get sucked into all these other people and the fantasy that they want to give you about how having kids is such a great thing. Now, again, we did mention some of the highlights of having children, which there will be a lot of highlights. And again, those moments are priceless and they're irreplaceable. But you know what else is irreplaceable? Your time and the amount of resources that you can make in your life. That's not replaceable either. At the end of the day, it's your choice. If you choose, you would like to have another child or a child and fall into whatever other people are telling you, that's your choice. But you heard it from me here. A lot of people that have kids are not happy. They are not happy. They wish they were you. They wish on Saturday night they could go out and just go be free. They wish they could just go out and go to the mall and blow their money and go, man, I just want to go get some new clothes. You know that fresh new pair of shoes feeling on your feet. You know that fresh outfit feeling. You know what it is. You know what it is when your pocket is feeling freshly stacked with hundos, Benjis. People that got all these kids, they don't be feeling like that. The majority of them. There's a rare few out here that have many kids and they're doing very well for themselves. And I commend them. You did what you had to do and You did not cut corners, and you're able to provide the type of life for your child that you should be able to. But for all those that are just recklessly having kids, and you're bringing up your kids to struggle and live in poverty, shame on you. You're selfish.
This video behind me is going viral and causing controversy. Check this out.
Okay, so in November, I decided I no longer wanted to be a responsible parent, and I gave up my kids. I was just tired of being responsible and caring for them. I felt like I was too young and I wanted to go out there and experience life, and I started dating someone else, so it just didn't fit with my new lifestyle. And I didn't have anything to worry about because the other parent is a very responsible parent. But now I'm here because now I'm earning child support, and to top it off, I'm really pissed off that I took care of them all the way up to November, and I couldn't claim them on my taxes because the other parent had already claimed them.
All I can say is, what has this world come to, man? This woman, this mother is mad that she has to pay child support because she abandoned her kids because they didn't fit her lifestyle. Like, could you imagine being so entitled, so evil, to just think that you can just throw away your kids and think that, you know, the club lifestyle or this, you know, lavish lifestyle is better than the greatest thing on earth, which is a family? And could you imagine the toll that this has on her children? They'll be at their dad's house asking where their mom is, and then their dad be like, well, you know, you didn't fit her lifestyle. She wanted to go explore and, you know, have this good time, and you were sort of hindering that. And just imagine how you would feel if you were this woman's kid and you saw this when you were older. And she cared more about claiming her kids on her taxes so she could get money than her actual kids themselves. This video honestly just made me sick to my stomach how people could just be this selfish. If you don't want kids, then don't have kids. It's that simple. But if you have kids, you need to treat them with care, treat them with love, and you just can't throw them away whenever you decide because, oh, you want to be a club girl now.
Let's get into some of the downsides and some of the consequences. I've given you guys some of the consequences, the money consequence, the resource consequence, and even the personal happiness consequence that you may and probably will have to sacrifice if you have more children than you can afford. But let's talk about how bad it could potentially get out here if you deal with the wrong person.
Controversy, check this out.
Okay, so in November, I decided I no longer wanted to be a responsible parent, and I gave up my kids. I was just tired of being responsible and caring for them. I felt like I was too young and I wanted to go out there and experience life, and I started dating someone else, so it just didn't fit with my new lifestyle. And I didn't have anything to worry about because the other parent is a very responsible parent. But now I'm here because now I'm earning child support, and to top it off, I'm really pissed off that I took care of them all the way up to November, and I couldn't claim them on my taxes because the other parent had already claimed them.
All I can say is, what has this world come to, man? This woman, this mother is mad that she has to pay child support because she abandoned her kids because they didn't fit her lifestyle. Like, could you imagine being so entitled, so evil, to just think that you can just throw away your kids and think that, you know, the club lifestyle or this, you know, lavish lifestyle is better than the greatest thing on earth, which is a family? And could you imagine the toll that this has on her children? They'll be at their dad's house asking where their mom is, and then their dad be like, well, you know, you didn't fit her lifestyle. She wanted to go explore and, you know, have this good time, and you were sort of hindering that. And just imagine how you would feel if you were this woman's kid and you saw this when you were older. And she cared more about claiming her kids on her taxes so she could get money than her actual kids themselves. This video honestly just made me sick to my stomach how people could just be this selfish. If you don't want kids, then don't have kids. It's that simple. But if you have kids, you need to treat them with care, treat them with love, and you just can't throw them away whenever you decide because, oh, you want to be a club girl now. I mean, let me know your guys' thoughts on this video, but
I don't even know what else I could say about this. This is an extreme example, but this woman is coming out and keeping it real. She said, well, hey, it didn't fit my lifestyle anymore. I was still young and, you know, I wanted to go out and thot around. So I had to give the kids, there's another responsible parent on the other side. Why do I need to be present? I'll just cut a check. Okay, well, it doesn't really work like that. When you make the choice to have a child, you need to do the best that you can do to be in that child's life and be a positive influence in their life. It was your choice to have those children. It wasn't their choice to come into this world. It was your choice to have the child. So you need to follow through with your responsibility, no matter what that responsibility is. You don't get off the hook. Now, there's a lot of people that try to get off the hook. Oh, I don't want to spend time with my kids. Oh, I don't want to pay. Okay. Well, why'd you have kids then? The problem is you have people that are irresponsible and immature out here having kids. Like this woman. You're irresponsible. You're immature. Now, it's okay to be immature and irresponsible in the beginning, but you have to learn from your mistakes and you have to become a better person. You have to become a better parent. You don't get to just give up and quit. And this goes for men and women. So for all you men out there that pop the kid over there, pop the kid over there, you know, and then you don't want to pay your support and, oh, well, but she's in a good position and why should I have to pay her money? Hey, brother, you were the one that laid down with her. You had a choice. You chose. So man up and fulfill your responsibility. Don't be out here pushing 60 years old, 65, 70, and you still owe child support. Wrap all that up. Get all that taken care of. Because at the end of the day, your kids are going to see what happened. They're going to know you didn't pay that money. They're also going to know that they grew up struggling. That's something that you're not going to be able to take back. So, if you're irresponsible like this, get your act together. And the main thing that you need to do is not have any more kids. Now, there's something that I've just had for a long time. And I just want to say that I think is a very controversial idea, but I feel like they should actually require a license to have children. You should have to go through a certain amount of classes. You should have to be able to demonstrate your ability to be able to take care of a child. You should be able to have to demonstrate that you're responsible enough in all of the various different areas. Maybe they even need to put a psychological test involved. You know? And another thing that I definitely think is that if you're on assistance and you're already getting welfare and you have more kids, they need to make that criminal. You're going to jail for 5 years. Well, what did I do? You brought another child into the world in poverty. They didn't have a choice. You're already on government assistance and you can't slow down. You can't keep your legs closed. So you're out here having more and more kids, and there's millions of women out here in this same position. But what does Big Daddy government do? Big Daddy government sides with this BS because that's part of how they want to break our society down. They really don't care about the family structure in our country. And for most of the Western world, they don't care about that like they did 50 years ago, 60 years ago. So this is the agenda that's being pushed. And this agenda is resulting in people like this woman. You could go out here and you could sleep around and have children, but then when it came down to it, well, I don't have any responsibility. Well, that's interesting. Not only that, she had other choices. She could have terminated the pregnancy if she wanted to, but she didn't choose to. She didn't want to do that. She wanted to have her cake and eat it too, and then have another slice of cake.
Rich man beg, I seen a good man sin, I seen a tough man cry. I seen a loser win and a sad man grin. I heard an honest man lie. I seen the good side of bad.
This is reality. I'm living inside of a dream world.
I just want to address this one. This is another downside of having children and getting yourself into a situation with the wrong person. Now, I do realize every relationship doesn't work out. However, there are consequences on the backside that you younger people do need to understand before you go out here and have a child based on a spur of the moment, based on an impulse, based on just being caught up in an emotion at a point in time in your life. Unfortunately, there are a lot of women that will use child support as a source of income. And if you go out and do your own research on the internet, you'll see what I'm talking about. There's millions and millions, tens of millions of videos out there that you could find where women are just going to break it down like, yeah, well, hey, you got me pregnant. It didn't work out. I need a check. That's as simple as it is. They need a check. And to be honest, there's women that are still with men. I know plenty of men right now that are still with a woman, but they still have to kick down child support. They're
100%.
That doesn't make sense to me. You're in a relationship with that person, but yet you have to cut down a monthly payment. You know, I know somebody specifically that they got a very large child support bill, multiple kids, of course, like many kids. And baby mama slapped them up, put them on child support. But then she'll be quick to say, oh, well, I need somebody to watch the kids. Can you watch the kids? How's he supposed to make money and provide and pay this child support bill when you're locking his whole day up with him watching kids? I don't understand that. Meanwhile, you know, you got goofies out here that want to keep dealing with these women. You're on child support through the government and you want to keep dealing with her. Now, you done went back to her, banged her out again, had another kid. Digging yourself deeper and deeper in the hole like a goofy. We ain't doing that on the Funtendo Game Show. We give you game. We talk about life. And we talk about everything that matters to you.
Not me, boy.
Fellas,
I got willpower.
get that pen and pad out and start taking some notes. It might end up saving your life.
If your question is, does having new kids in a new relationship qualify as grounds to decrease the support you're paying 100%. For your kids from a prior relationship, the answer is no. Because having new kids doesn't mean that you get to bail on the old ones. You still have to support
I'm gonna show you.
Just like you have to support the new kids. If your question is, if I have a kid with one person and then I have another kid with the same person, does that affect my child support? Yeah, it's gonna go up because it's a second kid. So either way, no, you're not gonna get out of having to support your kids just because you created more.
Do you hear how happy she is and how happy she looks? Can you see in her eyes how happy she looks to be discussing the topic of child support? Did you hear how she said your primary relationship and then backed out and said, oh, well, I'm sorry, your primary first set of kids in support? That's what she meant. She was the primary woman. This is your primary relationship. Oh, it didn't work out with me? I need my check. Bye. Nah. So what? You moved on and had another family, which I already said I don't agree with. Fine. I still need my money. And I need all my money. This is how millions of women think out here. We could get deep into this particular subject. I'm not even going to get into the child support situation too tough, but I just want to give you a little bit of an insight into the consequences of not planning to have children and having children by getting caught up in the moment. All right, guys.
It doesn't matter what you
Millions
think.
of videos.
Know your role
and
shut your mouth.
Look at the smirk on her face. She's happy to be getting a check every month.
It's the insurance.
Look at her.
No wonder your relationships don't last.
And whoever was the man that went out here and got her pregnant, shame on you. You're a goofy. This is another consequence, fellas, that you have to deal with. And it's going to be extremely painful financially, emotionally, mentally, so many different ways. There's a lot of men that end up in committing a deletion on themselves because of these types of situations. We're not going to get into all of that, but these situations, again, can take a very dramatic turn and impact on your life when you don't plan your life out and you just get into a situation and then now it's out of control now. Now you got courts involved. Now she wants money. Now you may or may not be seeing your children. Maybe you don't even make enough. Maybe they're just sucking you dry. Maybe you still live at your mama's house in the basement because that's real. Because at the end of the day, they don't care how much you get. You get your check, whack. Uncle Sam chops that part of that check off. Next, whack. They want that child support money. Now you're left over here with pennies and nickels in your hand like, well, where can I live for that? You can't live nowhere. They don't care. You could go live under that bridge over there in Hoboken, New Jersey, and you could be a bum. Just keep them checks coming in. We talked about the 5 W's. The who, the what, the when, the where, and the why. And we also talked about income, the cost of living. We talked about quality of
Look
living.
after
We
Mr.
talked
Bond.
about
See
the
that some harm
sacrifice.
comes
We
to
talked about a lot of different aspects that affect your team, your time, energy, attention, and money. And we also talked about some of the other consequences that come with having children. Again, having children and having a family, it can be a very, very beautiful thing. It can be one of the most rewarding experiences, and again, some of the most priceless experiences that you could have.
100%.
But it could also be one of the most difficult experiences that you have as well if you're not fully prepared and if you don't have the correct amount of resources to be able to handle your business as a parent. I know that this topic isn't very popular, and I know a lot of people don't really want to hear about these types of topics, but I just want to bring awareness to this specific topic for younger people and even older people that might have kids, that might be thinking about having another kid, because the game's done changed out here. It ain't what it was 5 years ago. It ain't what it was 10 years ago. And it's definitely not what it was 20 years
100%.
ago. Feel free to send me your questions, your feedback, like, subscribe, and hit that bell so you could get notifications for the Funtendo Game Show. That's going to wrap it up for today's episode of the Funtendo Game Show, where we give you games, we talk about life, and we talk about everything that matters to you.
100%.
When you got game, life ain't the same.